is Victor Antonio with another sales ride-along moment where you ride along and I talk about sales. Hey, I want to talk today about something. Did a training session yesterday for some folks. It was very enlightening. Like I said, every time you do training with a team, it's always interesting that not only do they learn, but you as a trainer, you learn more about the sales and sales process itself. So yesterday we had a great conversation. I put them through a new system that I've come up with, trying to really standardize how people approach selling. And one of the points of confusion, and it was my fault, not theirs, because remember, it's never the audience's fault. It's always the speaker's fault for not clarifying things or making things clear. And one of the questions was about the sales process. And so I was talking about not the sales process, I was talking about the selling process. And the person was confused in the audience as I was talking about this, and finally he raised his hand and says, I'm confused. You know, what's a sales process? And you keep saying selling process. Are they two different things? And I said, oh, absolutely, two very big different things. And then I really thought about what he said, and most people don't highlight the differences. So let me do that for you. Sales process versus the selling process. The sales process, think of it as more of a strategic approach to an account. Call it the macro level view of actually selling. What do I mean by that? When you look at CRM systems like Salesforce.com, they have basically, where you can actually input your sales process. Let's walk through it. Sales process, let's say for a B2B type customer, right? Sales process, step number 1, let's do the research on the client we're targeting. Step number 2, let's make contact, set up the first meeting. Step number 3 in the sales process is we set up the meeting. Now we have the meeting, call that the first introductory meeting. During that introductory meeting, we may do a presentation there, or we may do it during the next visit, so that could be step number 4. Let's say after the presentation / demo, the 5th step is to actually maybe get them to actually try the product, right? The next step may be get them to approve the product. Next step may be get them to incorporate that product into their system once approved. The next step may be provide the pricing along with the actual product so they can put that in the system. And the last step in the sales process is grab the first order, right? And you can always add steps after that, like do a follow-up to make sure everything was okay. And then get a referral could be another step in the sales process. See, that's the macro level sales strategic approach called the sales process. So what is the selling process? Take that sales process. Let's call it 9 steps that I just described for the sales process. Zoom in on the part where it says presentation, right? Which is the 3rd or 4th step, right? During that presentation, what is your selling process? Get the idea? Within the sales process, there is a selling process. So, for example, we've set up the meeting. Now we're at the meeting with the customer. What's my selling process? In other words, what am I going to go through? How am I going to do it? What am I going to show? What am I going to say during that, let's say, 45 minutes I have with the customer? That is the selling process that you're going to go through or take the customer through. See the difference? So a sales process really is more of a macro level view of the sales strategy, where the selling process is the process you're going to go through, or at least take your customer through, when you're face-to-face with the customer. Now, a lot of people have the sales process defined, but never really think about the selling process once they're in there doing the presentation. And to me, that's the key. You got to nudge them along during that selling process to make sure you get the desired outcome you want. So again, sales process, great to have, but if you don't have a selling process during that stage, you're going to be pretty much just kind of presenting and hoping that they'll want to move to the next stage. But by having a selling process in that presentation, knowing what you're going to walk them through, knowing what you're going to say, knowing what you're going to show, knowing what objections to block, knowing what things to bring up, insert, maybe helping them make a decision by prioritizing some of their buy criteria. Get the idea, by having a selling process during a presentation, you will be a more effective salesperson. This is Victor Antonio with another Sales Ride Along, reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how.